And we are live. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. That one, that one was a stressful one. West Ham 2, West Ham 0, Leicester 2. Jeff, what are your initial thoughts on the game?
Well, we're coming into London Stadium with just motivation, great chemistry, and the first goal leading up to it is what we all expected to happen. And then so on and so on. Maddison gets injured, comes off, and that kind of changed things up a bit. But we kept going. We kept holding that 1-goal lead. And then thankfully, Harvey Barnes ends it with a 2-goal.
Yeah, and it, again, that, do you know what? I wish that was the game in general. There was so many points to I remember thinking about points. Like, I think it's so many points to mention. I mean, we'll start with the starting formation in terms of looked at it again, kind of what we expected. Back four of, again, Amate, Fast, Thomas. Again, we'll get onto him in a second. Castagna, Samore, KDH, Tillemans, Barnes, Daka, Madison. Kind of as expected. But I think in the first 20 minutes, West Ham were kind of in the game, but we looked the more dominant. The ones that were going to create the most threat. And I think we played the game pretty well until, we'll get into it in a second, but for the first 20, 25 minutes.
Right, yeah. Whenever we had the ball, we always found those open spaces, especially with Samore finding those, making those short runs, then giving a through ball to Harvey Barnes or to Madison. But yeah, our just conversion when it comes to getting the ball back and attacking has just gone very, very, very high.
Yeah, exactly. And after that, obviously, we get the goal in the 8th minute. So again, the build-up, again, that feels like such a long time ago, the 8th minute. The build-up for that first goal was so great from, again, Madison Samore. Going to have to shout out Samore for the goal. The ability to get past a player, make some room. I thought in the build-up to that, Madison obviously started the attack. Samore then creating the chance, then to Barnes, Daka, and then Madison to finish it off. It was a really well worked goal. I think I put in the chat as well. It was prime Roger ball, that was.
Yeah, going with Samore, he has so many qualities. He has strength, he has pace, he can definitely hold the ball when he's taking someone on. And then those link up plays between KDH and Barnes, and then you have KDH cross it in. Luckily, goes to Madison. Madison just finishes off, and just what a way to make a standing prior to the World Cup.
Yeah. Again, there was a bit of an injury. Again, I'm trying to find some of the tweets, but essentially, it's not looking too bad. Ant's already here going contract needy for Paris. No, you'll talk on that when you come into the stream, mate. One game doesn't say the performance. Anyway, just to looking at some of the again, Rob Tanner, just to mention again ahead of time where Madison is. Apparently, it was a precaution. Again, just looking at Rob here. Looking at the replays of Madison at half time, he took the corners, may have scuffed the floor. Doesn't seem like he beat his man in the new post. Then he gently jogged there, holding his right knee and sat down. So I think, again, if it was anything serious, I don't think they would let him walk off. So fingers crossed. And the fact is, we saw him at half time and we saw him come into the game afterwards. I think that was, for me, that's a good sign, obviously. But you could tell after that minute, obviously, after the Madison, I think Charlie mentioned the heads did drop a bit, and there was a little bit like, oh my god, our star man's gone off.
Yeah, that certainly definitely changed our style when Madison came off, and we were just waiting for the halftime to come about because we were not working the ball up. But no, looking at the replays, looking at Madison sitting out, didn't seem too worried, smiling, even cracking jokes, and at full time looks fine to me. So hopefully he does make it to Qatar.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I think it was a precaution, but again, we will have to wait and see because obviously they just took him off just to make sure. And then considering after that point, West Ham really stepped into that game and they thought, right, we're going to go and take the game to Leicester. Now we've got the opportunity. And for us, at times it felt like they were cutting through us too easily. Again, I'm not going to try and criticize them too much because we did keep them out. But at times I was thinking we did need to make that midfield a lot more solid. And at times, I don't think we quite did that.
Right, yeah. Putting Dennis Pratt in for Madison, it certainly did cause not much attack on the right, more than the left, and we were kind of struggling. But defensively, we have to give ourselves credit because we're holding it. We're holding that 1-goal lead. And then thankfully it went all the way to the halftime, and then all the way till Barnes scores.
Yeah, and again, I'll come to your comment, Ethan, when you talked about the tactics and things like that. I will come to it because it's something that I want to get into. But again, Brad's in the chat. Shout out to Brad again. If you've not checked him out already, great fan. You'll see him on Leicester ITV and also top 10 battles there. Walt Fasten and Marty is there in a Gandalf saying you shall not pass. I mean, I could talk about the defense. To be fair, for the most part, them two were pretty much, I say, flawless for the majority of the game because there was a couple of mistakes that Marty did. Walt cleared up, and then I think the one thing I can think of Walt that there was a bit of miscommunication about 86 minutes when he left it and Ward had to make a save. We'll get onto Ward as well, but them two, I can't believe the arc of Daniel Amarte again, just turning it out when nobody expected him to.
Yeah, there's always those games from Amarty, and thankfully it has been consistent in recent matches. I was gonna think, honestly, I thought that Johnny Evans was gonna come on since he seemed to be fully fit, played against Newport.
Yeah.
But no, without a doubt, it was a good call to put Amarty. He's been playing very well, especially with Fast right next to him, and that whole backline is very organized.
Yeah, and considering the amount of substitutes, 4 substitutes, I thought we made 5. Evans was on the bench. But I think the problem wasn't there. The problem was in the midfield. And again, credit to Rodgers for we got to get into half. Well, before we get into Rodgers, there was a couple of amazing saves throughout this game from Danny Ward. I know a lot of fans, obviously, we mentioned again, is he the right person to take us forward? People are calling for Iverson. I think he's more than proved that. And I think, again, Ethan's put in made some vital saves. And I think he's got imagine Ward tied for first for clean sheets. Who on earth saw that happening? It just shows you how amazing he's been. But in this game, I think he was really good performer. Danny Ward was.
Yeah, much more confident coming out for corners, getting the ball. In that free kick with West Ham, I think it was a cross in, a header, and then almost goes right past Danny Ward, but he just jumped and saved that one, fingertip save. But yeah, no, based on the previous matches, we have clean sheets, probably most clean sheets consistently compared to Schmeichel last season. And yeah, I'm very confident with Danny Ward.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so strange again. Imagine again, Brad, if you do want the link, let me know on Twitter and I'll message you the link as well. Girls win the Golden Glove. It would be the strangest thing, but at the same time, that wouldn't be the weirdest thing that's happened in Leicester in the last 10 years. That's how weird this. But again, he was brilliant, and I think he's forming a good relationship with, especially Walt Fast has come in and made that defense better. There seems to be more of a synergy with that the whole defensive back 5.
Yeah, just with Fast, a huge upgrade in the defense. Much more confident, not only with them, but us as fans, more confident with set pieces, with corners. I don't even get those nervous type of reactions when we have a set piece, because we're confident. Walt Fast knows where to be, heads the ball out. And yeah, it's just a massive upgrade compared to how we were at the start of the season. And some would argue that perhaps we're one of the best defensive teams right now, currently, within the Premier League.
We are, and it's insane. And you're here. Welcome to the stream. Sorry to drop you in straight away. But what do you think of that one?
It's one of those. It wasn't the best performance in the world, but I'll tell you what. I'm almost happy that it wasn't, in a weird way, because when's the last time we've played badly, dug in deep, and got 3 points? And say what you want about West Ham being poor and all of that side of it. I think you've got to look at it from the side of our best player went off early on in the game.
Yeah,
we didn't look great, but still our heads didn't drop. Like I compared this to the Bournemouth game, where we went 1-0 up earlier on, and as soon as they scored, our heads just completely dropped. Like today, we stood up and were strong, which is the biggest thing for me. And I'm heading into the World Cup, and it comes at the worst time for us. We are really riding a wave of positivity, but we head into the World Cup 5 points off the top 6. Imagine saying that like 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't have believed you. Considering again, people are even the comments again. People saying Danny Ward needs to be dropped. Now we're saying Golden Glove. It's so crazy that this period of time that we've gone from that to that. I mean, it's there's I mean, we've probably heard of some of the things we mentioned, and I think one thing as well, Jeff, just to bring it back, the game could have been more tied up going into the second half. I mean, you look at the Patson Daka goal. I don't think we created too many opportunities from when Maddison was subbed off until that 40th minute, until the penalty miss. But Patson Daka, don't think he had his best game, but again, VAR turned it around. Credits VAR for that, for giving the penalty, rightly so. But the penalty miss, just all of that situation, it's frustrating that we couldn't. But we don't look at, if we had drew this game, we were looking back going, that was the moment we could have got a point out of the game. Now that we come back at it, what are your thoughts on the whole penalty?
It honestly could go both ways. You know, when you miss a PK like that, certainly the away team, the team that saved it, is going to be much more motivated and going to come at you even more. But thankfully, we weren't able to let that get through our heads, focus, and keep on defending. And like I said, our defending has just improved drastically. So yeah, it could have gone both ways. I thought, honestly, West Ham were going to come and tie it. That's why I want us to go in halftime and just, you know, see what we can change the tactics a bit. But it all played out, thankfully, in our favor. Yeah,
exactly. It all played out at the end of the day. And I think with the way that we're playing, and I think, what's it called? I think he's put in who's put in the comments? Somebody's put it in. It was called a few, but the mentality of the team is really kind of, again, I think Ethan's put that in terms of the mentality. Oh, Brad's here. Hey, Brad, just a quick one. Yeah, but in terms of the mentality of the team, I'll hand over to Ad before I bring Brad in, but as in the questions. But Rodgers, again, the mentality, it's so crazy that it's changed in such a dramatic fashion from where it was to where it is now. I mean, where we were, we were just conceding for just fun. And the second half, it was all dropping off. Now we're playing a game of football that I'm seeing Brendan Rodgers come out, and it's strange. I'm still not quite forgiving him about what he said about the fans and stuff, but credit where it's due. I mean, today he got the tactics spot on.
He did, and it's one of those, as I say, today wasn't a good performance, but it was a good result, and it was a result where we dug deep and did everything we had to. But with Brendan Rodgers, like, the frustrating thing, we could see that it was so close to being good. With everything that we were doing going forward was still very good, but defensively, it was an absolute shambles. So I think Fast coming in has been a huge part of it. And Brendan Rodgers, again, I think, like, for a long period this season, he was very naive in what he was doing, but he's done what we've wanted for the longest time and accepted where he's gone wrong and changed. So I think me and you, Neil, might be eating a bit of humble pie over the next few months.
Yeah, but at the same time, I stand by what I said at that time about his performance and what he was saying. And again, we aren't just completely reactionary at the same time. I stand by what I said. But again, I'm happy to be wrong, and I was wrong. Brad, again, welcome to be on the night. It's the first time you're on, mate. But not to put a dude damper thing on, mentioned on it today, but the back line again was fantastic. But Luke Thomas, first game, I think, in the Premier League for quite a while. He was coming up against Bowen, which is always going to be hard. But how do you think he did today?
I think he did okay. I think the thing is, you've got to accept the fact that him and Justin aren't the same left back. Justin can seem to either do one or the other. You're either committing him forward and you're asking a midfielder to fill in while he tracks back, or you're asking him to stay back and play the ball into Tillemans, Dewsbury Hall, or down the line to Barnes. Whereas with Justin, you get the advantage of his pace that he has, when obviously, unfortunate his situation at the moment, but he offers that, and you don't get that with Thomas. And at times I was finding myself getting frustrated with him, but I think to do the job that he had to do was absolutely fantastic. But just to talk about getting things right at the defensive end, you shall not pass is the mantra of our back four. I mean, I remember that silly Arsenal fan that said that hiring that defensive coach was the most pointless thing in football. How's that working out for you, Mr. Arsenal fan? I'm sure you're happy that your team's top of the league, but that tweet's come to bite you on the arse. You got to win games scrappy, and we did that well today. I think where we lost the ball, we had numbers behind it to recover it. Where West Ham lost it, especially as you saw for the second goal, it was in precarious positions for them. And that was the difference between the frustrations when we didn't have the ball.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. We got into a good position. We got really... we picked our moments, didn't we, Jeff? And especially in the second half. And we've seen this before, get into those positions and miss it. Harvey Barnes, even though he was quiet in the second half, when we needed to call upon him, he delivered. And that's all you want from somebody in an attacking position. On that left-hand side, we needed him to put that goal away just to ease the pressure on us late in the game. And he did that. And again, I know Ant will speak on it, but that pass from Jose Perez was sublime.
Yeah. Jose Perez at times, he has that quality to find those type of passes. And it happened. He saw Harvey Barnes make the run. Barnes, goalie comes out through the legs. That's something that I didn't expect. I thought he'd go over the goalkeeper, but he found that hole right there and scored. Superb.
Yeah, it was, again, superb. And go for it.
The thing is, it was a bit tongue-in-cheek, but that pass,
I know.
If that pass was done by someone else, it would be lauded up to absolute brilliant levels. And do I think Perez should be here long term? Absolutely not. He needs to move on. But we've got to give credit where it's due. That was absolutely brilliant and finished off very nicely by Harvey Barnes. And I've always said I think Perez is a half decent player, just at the wrong club at the wrong time. And for me, we just cut our ties with him. But today he came in massive with that assist.
And considering he's not played for such a... Did he play on Tuesday? I can't remember if he played on Tuesday.
I don't think he did. I
Yeah,
don't think he even came in, did he?
He did, but
Did
he
he?
might as well not.
Fair enough.
He was usual Perez then on Tuesday, was he? Because I don't remember him playing.
His Perez on the right wing.
Oh, well, that
There,
explains it.
there's your problem then, isn't it? But I think considering, again, I looked at the formations after, again, Perez, because, again, Rodgers used 5 subs. I can't believe it. He's been crying out for it for ages. I think it's the first game I saw him change all 3, and I was thinking, again, good play from the substitutions. The fact that, again, obviously, well, the first one that surprised me, actually, coming up to 3 subs, was obviously the Maddison made sense for Pratt. Tillemans for Ndidi. I understood it, but at the same time, I still can't believe Bradley actually went and actually did that one, because I thought Tillemans was his one that he can do no wrong in the game.
Well, it's almost refreshing to see him come off for that reason, because he did have a poor game. He wasn't at the races, and you've got to give credit to West Ham for that a bit. They took onus in us losing that prowess in Madders, and then they took a bit of a second wind when we missed the penalty. And you know what? You think about, we're talking about clean sheets, we're talking about winning games away from home, something we couldn't even fathom, in the first 7 games of the season. And the substitutes he made for the first time, back 7 games ago, I was going, oh no, here we come. Samore, Mendy, they're all coming on. They're going to stick 10 men behind the ball and we're going to concede. And what happened? In them 7 games, we picked up 1 point, kept conceding. But this game, I saw it and I went, that's good, Rodgers. That's smart tactical play. He's not having a great game. Shore it up, get us them, drag them further up the pitch and try and hit them on the counter. If you're a manager asking for your tactical substitutions and plans to make a thing, Harvey Barnes finishing it off in the 77th minute, you couldn't ask for a better response. It was a reassured substitutions. Like you said, he actually got it spot on again this week.
Yeah, and considering Harvey Barnes was the only attacking player, well, player from the midfield forward that he left on, considering and Ndidi was changed, Mendy was changed, Pratt was changed, Perez was changed, and Vardy was changed. And it was Barnes that I was thinking, is he having that great game? But again, he managed to finish it off. And again, they made the 3 substitutions, Jeff, when they went to, again, Samore, KDH, Daka came off, Mendy, Perez, and Vardy. Again, them 3 subs just to help secure out the game. The midfield looked a lot more secure with you having that double pivot of Ndidi and Mendy. And we just, even though West Ham came onto us, they really tried. The fact that we went in and made these substitutions, again, it worked at the end of the day. And yeah, just credit to him. Credit to Rodgers for getting all of them right, to be honest.
Yeah. Credit to everyone that played, that got in. I honestly thought that Ndidi coming in was a bad choice, just given how before he would give away, easy balls and kind of lose and not really create anything. But in this match, he performed to his very best. Same thing with Ayoze. I thought it was going to be Kalichi coming on at least to hold the ball up top because we weren't really holding it. But no, the changes have worked perfectly, and credit to Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been fantastic, and we did weather the storm at times, and I think we mentioned it about a couple of times during the second after Maddison was injured, and B in that second half where West Ham were coming onto us strong and they were cutting through the midfield, and Rodgers resolved that just with the tactics and the substitutions.
He did, and he was proactive in that. And I think that's something that we've said so many times. How, like, we've been able to see issues for like 10, 15 minutes in the game, and then Rodgers makes the change after the other team score. He made the change today before it became too big of an issue. You could see Tielemans was looking leggy, was looking tired, and wasn't the best at having his best of games. So the fact that he made that change early on, I think, again, you've got to give credit to him.
Yeah, and considering just the way that we took the goal, and the back line again was steady Eddie throughout. And the thing is, I think it was again a mentality thing that we've not seen for a while. Well, we've seen for a while recently, but at the beginning of the season we couldn't expect that. And the way we were getting about managing it, the reason why I keep talking about it is because we've not seen it for so long, Brad. We've just not seen that at all, and finally we're seeing it, and we're just clicking into prime Brendan ball once again.
I like that prime Brendan ball. That might become the hashtag over time if it keeps going. But no, you're right. And I think the weird thing is we all focus so much on thinking we're missing that voice, we're missing that leader because we'd sold Casper, and obviously now that seems like ancient news the way Ward's performing. But I think we got it back. And again, it's something I've credited Brendan and his backroom staff for is, you know, we've got a very good history of selling a centre-back for lots of money and bringing one in cheaper. You know, we did it with the snake in the grass when we got rid of Maguire. We've done it again without Fez. And I think you've got your very perfect partnership. You've got someone who's a bit no-nonsense. He's going to shout at you. He's going to guide you and do it in Wout Faze. And you've got that marshal, you know, that private soldier, if you will, that will just go, yes, sir, I will do that. I'm getting that out. I'm not risking it. You take, if I'm hearing, clear it out. If I'm told I've got time, I'm doing what I'm told. And then Martin, they complement each other so well. And at the start of the season, you know, we was talking about maybe Evans, who's going to replace Evans. Well, I think accidentally or not, we already have that commanding leader in Wout Faze because he's just something else. I mean, I call him the Belgian David Luiz, but you don't have a David Luiz mistake in him right now, does he? Because he's just absolutely superb. And just touching on that 5 substitute things you said, Brendan's making the use of it. I think Leicester have one of the best all-round squads to really execute 5 subs perfectly. And in the last few weeks, we've seen him execute and use them 5 subs because you're not looking at a substitute going, oh, you're just on because you haven't got any other options. You're looking at them going, yeah, they'll do a job for us. And I think it helps players like Mendy think about their future at Leicester. There's others than Mendy. I know he's probably more notable. That'll think, well, actually, if I'm going to get game time here, I'll take 2 more years.
And you're going to see players like, obviously, he was in the squad. You're going to see players that have come out of the squad like your Danny Simpsons, your Shinji Okazakis, obviously legends for this club. Where's their careers potentially gone? Marco Brighton is still around for that, still around for kind of obviously remembrance of that 2016 squad. But there's I think a lot of play like Mendy potentially could be one that goes, maybe I will stay a little bit longer. Just give me a year or 2 just so I can be part of this and see where this team could go because it is going somewhere great. And I think one thing that they mentioned later on as well, I forgot what it's gone now. The one conceded in 6 games, which is insane. And that was an unbelievable free kick by Kevin De Bruyne that nobody's saving. But Jeff, when we go for corners, I'm not scared. This feels weird because normally we go for corners. I'm thinking, oh my god, it's like the Tielemans penalty. It's like we don't know. Literally, all the things might fall apart. So the set piece coach has done a job. Danny Ward's coming and collecting. Just the whole defending from set pieces looked completely different.
Yeah, out of 10 corners, we're winning 9 of them. And that's just a drastic improvement. Yeah. Just look at the start of this season. We were all pretty much 95% chance our set piece was going to go in. So, yeah, Fast is there. Everyone knows where to be and head the ball out. And that's one thing that's helped us a lot. And especially during this moment against West Ham where we needed to defend really, really badly because we had that 1-goal lead. Madison coming out, kind of changing our style a bit, but still defending and being there to hold on.
Yeah, and that's what we did, and we've seen it before. We've seen it. I think this March when we looked at West Ham, where we were I think we went 1 or 2-0 up, and it was just, and there were 2-1 and came, and we're like, oh no, we know what's happening. at our ground, and then the last, I think Dawson gets the head of like the 88th minute or something. I was like, it was coming. I wasn't even disappointed. I was just used to it at that point. But I think coming into the one thing that Ethan's mentioned, again, it's worth mentioning in terms of Fast. I wouldn't say he's not the potential of him. Fofana's got a better potential, but compared to Ethan's point, the fact that we got him for 15 million is unbelievable. It's kind of Brad was saying as well, and it came out of, again, that was not something that was planned. This was kind of, we were planning to keep Fofana for at least another year, and this has come in, and he's come in and just changed that back line. Like I can't speak how good he's been, and even in this game where Amate again does have a mistake in him, Waltfast's just there to clear it all up, and he's just building brilliant relationships with everybody on the pitch.
He is, and I know everyone's labelled him as Fofana replacement. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think long term he's for Johnny Evans' replacement, and then we'll be getting probably looking at another young centre back either in January or the summer. But for 15 million, what a signing! And this is why I say I'm not too fussed about us signing big names. I'd rather us scout players properly and go for players that coming to Leicester is a bit of a step up in some regards. So they've got that bit between their teeth and they've got a point to prove. This is why when we were linked to like Ryan Bertrand and everyone was saying it's a good signing, I'm like, and I've got receipts on this, I wasn't fully convinced. And like, it does, just because you haven't heard of a player, I think the point is, doesn't mean he ain't going to be a world beater.
And we've got a track record, haven't we, Brad, of bringing in who? All right, we'll see how it happens. But we normally give them a chance. We give them the opportunity to perform. And Fast is one of them. Yeah, Fofana was one. Again, a lot of players we have to start their like Wikipedia pages because nobody's ever heard of them. But they come into the squad and they just do business. And considering that's their only signing, well, again, apart from Alex Smithies, who we've just not seen as well, it just shows you that coming into this January window, apparently we're taking out a loan again. We're going to try and do some more January window analysis there. If we can build this squad even better than it is with a couple of more signings that would look more towards the future, this team would keep climbing that table. And I'm not going to put a limit on where it could go.
Yeah, I mean, now the dust has settled, if you could say, this squad doesn't give you that fear in terms of you're almost dreading the kickoff and the first goal because you're wondering where the avalanche is going to stop rumbling. And not just in the recruitment, though, because, I mean, you could go through that squad and let's go to the start 11. Vardy, we signed him. Who? Dewsbury Hall, promotion through the youth. Luke Thomas, promotion through the youth. Danny Ward, snapped him like third choice at Liverpool. Amate, who? Samari. All right, he won a league title with Lille, which was very, very, very well done. But until that point, no one had really mentioned him. Wow, Fez, who? Castagne, probably more notable name. Madison got in the limelight at Norwich. But Tillemans, who? Was playing at like Monaco, where wasn't even getting in the Monaco side. Most of that side is either a youth or nobody else looked at. And do you know what I find even better about Wout Faces? I don't know how true it was. It might have been Leicestershire Live that's probably that reliable. But apparently, apparently when Chelsea were going frustrated over Leicester's stance with Fofana, they inquired about Wout Face. So I don't know how true. Again, it might have been Leicestershire Live. They were reporting a lot at the time, but it came out after we'd signed him, and obviously his form had shown. They played Leicester. From an outside, if you're a neutral, you've got to be looking at Leicester and going, you know what, they do their business right. Cheap buy-ins that turn out brilliant, and they promote the youth, and it's great to see.
And especially if you're a young player that's, for example, something like a Man City, we were linked to McAtee for a while. I was thinking that, look, this could be the right club to really develop him because you're looking at the likes of, again, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Harvey Barnes, Luke Thomas. Yes, he's not come into his form, but we're still giving him the opportunities. And even then coming to there is space for a young manager that's used to train the youth up as well in Brendan Rodgers. But you look at the substitutes we've got, Jeff. We look at Evans, Vardy, Albrighton, Iheanacho, Perez, Mendy, Ndidi, Pratt, Iverson. That bench is really strong considering we've not got Europe. In that game we made 5 substitutions and they all worked. So it shows you that even though the 5 sub rule was designed for the bigger teams, it's like the bench that we have here is working in our favor. Bearing in mind, this isn't likes of Sionchu's not in this team. Obviously, James Justin's out injured. Ricardo is out injured as well. So there are people that are fighting for places to get and won't even make the subs bench.
Yeah, there's a little bit of quality from every single player there on the bench. And if we need help in the defense, we perhaps go to either Ndidi, Mendy, Albrighton. If we need some creation, some creativity, Perez, Pratt. And yeah, if anything, I'm more happy that Pratt has stuck with us because he's almost as similar to Madison and knows how to give great through balls and sees things that we don't see. And yeah, all-time big player.
Yeah, I think he's a really good player for how we played as well. And I don't know if there's any player that you want to mention, of the players we mentioned for either the subs or the team that we've not mentioned already, because again, as you were mentioning, it wasn't the most vintage performance, but it meant a lot because of what team we came up against, and we've been demolished there before. With a 4-1 was embarrassing when we got absolutely turned over by, I think Perez got sent off, but that game we were absolutely embarrassed by them. This team knows how to play against, and Moyes knows. Again, he's put 4 goals past us, I think, a few times now.
Yeah, and player I'd like to mention, and it's completely sort of relevant for today, is James Maddison. Brendan Rodgers has just confirmed that it was precautionary why he came off. So he will be going to the World Cup. And then Ricardo Pereira, I don't know if you've just seen this. He's just put something on his Twitter of him training, saying something like "not long," or something like that.
I'll find that and put it up.
Where is it?
Oh, just upgrading the work.
That's it. The little video. Don't play it because it'll get
but you can go to Ricardo Pereira's Twitter and you'll be able to find it. But yeah, upgrading the work. So yeah, he when we come back, obviously not going to the World Cup. Him and Castagna, I mean, that's going to be considering how good this team is. Them two as wing backs, it's going to be incredible.
I think the big thing with it is, well, last time when he came back, we had to rush him straight back because we didn't really have the options elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Now we've got the options. He won't have to play every minute of every game when he comes back. He can slowly be integrated back. And I think the fact that we've got MK Dons to start with, if he is back fit by then in a month's time, you can start with like 10 minutes, build it up to 15, then 20, and it doesn't have to be just like straight full 90 minutes.
Yeah. What is it called? Actually, I want to bring up. So we need, again, in terms of Ricardo, Ethan's, but we need him back. We don't want to rush him back. Exactly. We've done it before. I think with Ricardo 2 years ago when we played him in Zoya Luhansk away. Again, Sionchu went off injured. Tielemans went off injured, and I think Ricardo was one of them as well. So it's not worth it. So again, we could build him back in. We got a Hammers fan in the chat. Hi Mark, appreciate you here. Good luck, Foxes. Very depressed West Ham fan, mate. I can relate to this point this season. Trust me, we've been there. All of us have been there, mate. But yeah. The most negative defensive manager in the Premier League. Trust me, you've not. Hope you get the sack soon. That's really. I don't know about that, but then I don't know, Brad. People have said that about Brendan Rodgers. They go, "Oh, I don't know about getting rid of him." I've been exactly the same position, so I can't tell him what he should say about his manager because we've been there with Rodgers.
Well, first 7 games, we were all saying the thing. We had the most negative manager. And the last 2 results show you where we're progressing because we were below Everton when we played them. We beat them. We've overtaken them. We were either level on points or a point behind West Ham before today's game. We've overtaken them. And it's, even though we're still quite close in terms of points around the teams around us, it's that psychology that you look at and go, Leicester haven't conceded in the last 4 away games. They haven't conceded in 6 games out of 7. And then you look at West Ham, who have now lost 2 on the bounce, they've been indifferent in their form, and their fans are now making statements like that. I did send it in a private message because you want to announce it. Rodgers has been asked, and he's already confirmed, precautionary, he's going to be fine for the World Cup. We can all take a sigh and a deep breath. Rodgers has confirmed Madders will be 100% going to the World Cup. There's no injury. It was just he felt something, didn't want to risk it. So,
which is to our benefit as well. Again, we know he won't
exactly.
I don't think he'll be played that much in the World Cup, to be honest with you. Again, that's another thing with James is Maddison. Yeah. And I've just seen on BBC Radio Leicester as well that they've put Owen says that he's can feed his he's all good. Maddison is on the plane. So that's great to hear from our perspective.
He's driving there now.
Yeah, driving all the way to Qatar. He'll get there by the time. Does anybody know when it starts?
The 20th?
Next Sunday.
Jeez,
Next Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, Qatar, Ecuador.
Okay.
It's so wrong that it's in December, doesn't it? Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah. It feels like jet lag. Like, I'm not sure what's happening. But yeah, again, it's great for our perspective. Again, I'm glad that they took the precaution as well, because I feel like they've done it in the past where some players looked a little bit off and then have like, right, we're going to continue with him, and then they end up getting a worse injury.
Yeah.
So I can't remember the exact player. Maybe it was Ricardo last season.
Might have been. I think it was because they both got. Yeah, you're right, because they both came in at half time, and I think Brendan Rodgers basically pleaded with them to see if they could do another 15 minutes before coming off, and the situation we're in. But it's good. And the one thing I will say, and I'm glad this all went our way today to kind of serve back this. If there wasn't a World Cup, I still think he takes Maddison off, because given our injury record over the past 2 seasons, Rodgers has become more susceptible, I would say, to going, well, we have got 5 subs. I'd rather not risk it. I'm going to take you off. And people that might be thinking, oh, well, he took him off because of England. No, I think if we'd have got Newcastle next week and not on Boxing Day, he would have taken him off. So good news all round, to be fair on that one.
Yeah, and I think with that performance, Jeff, coming like back to the fact that again if you told us during our losing run how bad we were that we take Maddison off, I was thinking, oh my God, team's going to rubbish, especially within the 25 minutes where we normally fall down after 60 minutes. And he was the only real player that was really driving the team forward and really getting the team. I think that's why this match means so much, even though the performance wasn't that great. The fact that we got that win out somewhere was brilliant.
Yeah, we didn't let that go to our heads as much. I'll be honest, once Madison came off and the fact that we were losing possession, I was thinking like, are we a one-man team with Madison, or what's going on? But yeah, it all played out well. Madison's perfectly fine going to Qatar. We got 3 points. We're in 12th place. It all worked out perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. Brad, you say you got to go again. I was just about to type that to you, but no worries. Again, I'll leave the link to your channel down below once the video's finished. But let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, find me on Twitter at Fulltime Focus. It's all one word. There's no hyphen in there. You click the link in the bio on my Twitter. It'll take you to my YouTube channel, which is what my name is there. It's Top 10 Battles. If you enjoy that sort of thing, we're going through a football theme. We'll be continuing into the World Cup. So join us there, follow us there. Subscribe to all these guys' channels on here, and Neil and Jeff. Follow them and all that. And yeah, thanks for having me on. And what a way to end it. Does anyone reckon they'll do a Liverpool and extend the table to show the top 12?
No, they won't.
No,
not for us. Not that L team.
Well, we're top of the bottom half. That's what matters.
Which is a hell of a lot better than where we were a few weeks ago.
But cheers for having me on, mate. I've enjoyed talking about it.
Me too, mate. Thanks for coming on.
No worries.
Yeah, thanks for Brad for coming on as well. And again, I don't think there's any other points you want to go over, because it was a match where there wasn't a load of moments, but there was a few moments where if Declan Rice puts that goal away, we're looking at the game different. There's a few other moments where Schumacher, if he gets in the right position, he puts that goal away. It could have been a different game. It was a game of those fine margins, and that's what makes it feel even more successful.
It is. And talking about fine margins, can we just say about that Donnarumma shot where he just like midfield and absolutely smacks one? He's done that a couple of times. Eventually, one of those is going to go in top in.
Yeah, and it reminded me of I think I put it. It's like, he turned it into Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany did when we did away at against us when we were all backing off. It's like, right, I'll have a go, but that was an insane shot. And again, there's a bit of a level between Kompany and Daniel Amate. But again, Jeff, the fact that these players are having these opportunities to do something like that is not something that would happen week 1 to 7. Yeah,
now everyone's all feeling inspired, especially with Marty. That reminded me of Tielemans' goal in the FA Cup. It's on the right side. going towards top left. It was going in, but yeah, that's something I did not expect from Marty. Perfect shot.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. And final thoughts before we finish, because we are sitting in a lovely 12th place for now, which is getting insane. I think the form, looking at that, I looked at the wrong one there. Drawn, win. The loss was against Man City and the 1-0, but the form is looking decent as well now.
It is going to go full on Andy Tate. Second half of the season, let's get the title charge going. but now let's climb up that league table. We've got everything, but like everything is looking up at the moment. So let's enjoy the positivity. Also, cheeky little shout out. I'll be doing my match reaction on my channel at 9 o'clock tonight. So make sure to check that one out as well.
Make sure you check that out. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so again, make sure you check that one out. Jeff, again, feel free. Thanks for joining, mate. Really appreciate coming on once again. Let the people know where they can find you as well. I'll leave a link to everything in the description as well.
Yeah, so it's Fox to Fox Report, as you see right there. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
Awesome. So brilliant. Yeah, thank you again. We're not gonna completely stop the channel. We're gonna do I've got some other things planned for everybody. So don't feel like, there's no Leicester football. There's gonna be no content. We're gonna have some content. We're planning to do again with the people from the US, Leicester City versus US stream after the Qatar, because I think that'll be a great stream to do. But yeah, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out again Jeff's channel and Ant at 9 o'clock for his route roundup as well. We'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.